Knicks family, what's popping? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see I'm not in the studio. All right. I'm actually in Norfolk, Virginia right now. You know what I'm saying? Handling some business. But the show must go on, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks tonight take on the Portland Trailblazers. And this is the game preview. Thank you for joining us. You see, we got Tony, we got Steph, we got Andy. We're going to go ahead and break this thing down, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this on up out of here. Say what's up to everybody. We can get busy. Tony, what's popping with you, bro? How you feeling?
Salute, Sim. Salute, Andy. Peace, Queen. Shout out to the chat. Your blackest time.
Yeah, Steph, what's going on, Steph?
Yeah, shout out to you, Sam, Tony, Andy. I'm doing well. Looking forward to this win tonight.
Yeah, well, we better get the win tonight. We better get it tonight. Andy, what's going on, man?
Yo, what up, Sim? I see you not taking any days off. What up, Tone, Steph?
Yeah.
Happy to be on with you guys.
Not taking any days off, man. I don't know, Steph, Tony. I know you guys were just talking about it a little bit. I don't know if you want to just mention it really quick because I know it's on some people's minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the report came out that the Knicks are going to keep Tom Thibodeau. I expected it to happen. I'm not surprised.
Me either.
You know what I'm saying? I know some people are probably upset, but I'm not surprised at it at all. Tony, your thoughts?
I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I said it a while ago that they needed to come out. Now, granted, this wasn't a statement from the organization, but I felt like that's what we needed to get some type of confirmation, reassurance on Tibbs' behalf to kind of settle things that were going around in the media and in the
Right.
chat world.
Right. And I think Tom Thibodeau was asked yesterday, if he was worried about his job, et cetera, et cetera. And, he gave the typical answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about those things. I just do what I got to do, which I don't believe, right? Everybody thinks about it, you know what I mean? But he was probably already reassured that he wasn't
Right.
going anywhere, you know what I mean? And Steph, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I wanted him to come back as well. I felt like you didn't have his roster. You can even argue you didn't have his coaching staff, right? Somebody else hired the assistant coaches. I don't think that was Tibbs' first choice. So, hopefully he gets to come back. They get players that are Tibbs types player. And if we do get another assistant coach, hopefully he'll have a say in that as well.
Right. Yeah. And I'm gonna come to Andy and I want Andy to comment on, what I'm about to say. I just believe it's the right move. You know what I mean? He's been here for what? A year and a half, really? I guess.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. You know what I mean? He had one really good season, one bad season. This is a bad season. Now let's see where he's really at because it's probably, somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Now, that good season was 41 and 31, in a regular 82 game season. Maybe that averages out to be, 47 and 35 or something like that, So hopefully next year, hopefully it wouldn't average out in the middle. Hopefully the Knicks get more players, you know what I'm saying? And he's able to take them and they get better. You know what I mean? But I think it's one with Tom Thibodeau. I think you should trust him a little bit. He's been around the league for a while. He's had success in the league. He's a proven commodity. And then two, just for the stability of the team, you have Tom Thibodeau. People not gonna like it, but you got Julius Randle, you got R.J. Barrett, who's been here for a while. If Mitch comes back, Mitch has been here for a while. You got rookies like Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, who have been here for a while. How long has it been since we had a group of players and coaches that have been with the team for a while to see if we can build?
And
Haven't had that.
and before you get to Andy, that's the definition of building. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like you
yep,
gotta get your foundation and then add to it. You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
You can't just keep ripping the foundation apart
He's starting
and
over.
Right.
starting over.
Right.
You
You
know,
you can't do it. You gotta try to build, and sometimes you're gonna dip, and then you come back up. Dip, you come back up. Andy, what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, Sim. First of all, I wanted to credit Jake Fisher, a friend of the show. He was on with us. That was his report.
Hmm.
That Tibbs is probably going to stay with the Knicks.
Mhm.
Listen, my feelings on Tibbs. I'm kind of mixed on Tibbs. I actually realized what kind of a coach he is before we signed him. So after we signed him, I just probably was thinking what can happen. Of course, I expected the Knicks to play a little bit better this season. But listen, I think Knicks fans are going to make this a situation that actually nobody's going to win, and they're going to critique everyone that actually is in the situation that's going to dip, right? Fans are going to blame Tibbs. Next season, fans are going to blame RJ because RJ is going to have a worse season. They're going to blame RJ, then they're going to blame the next one up. So I don't think there's a winner in this situation, and the only constant in this sim is actually the fans.
Yeah.
So listen,
Let me tell you
people
something.
come and go, then the fans stay. So
Yeah. RJ is already being blamed.
yeah,
Really?
so
Right? RJ is
that's
already being blamed. I had someone send me a message, and it's Greg. I don't have to. It's Greg. He'll be on here in a minute. You know what I mean? He's put a message on one of my videos, and he said, "You see, RJ wants to average 20 points per game this year, so he's only out there playing for stats." And I'm like, he's 21 years old. It's okay to have individual goals. There's nothing wrong with having individual goals. You know what I'm saying? And to boot, he said, yeah, I want to average 20 points per game. I want to try to get that average, but I want to make sure I do it the right way and in a way that impacts winning. There's nothing wrong with that. But, it's
Right.
already starting with RJ
Right.
yeah.
already.
Sim, just to add on the tips topic, as soon as the rumor started, the other one came just right after another one, right? With the Louisville head coach situation and
Yeah,
Kenny Payne
right.
probably getting announced as the head coach of the University of Louisville on Friday at 10. I think
Yeah.
that they got it scheduled. So listen, I hope it's not like Kenny heard the news and he's like, okay, I'm out of here. So
Oh, well. I mean, but I think they were, way before this. I think they were
yeah.
already
I'm just
approaching them.
joking
Yeah,
that maybe
yeah,
that was his final straw with this.
right. I hope not. But to tonight's game, man, the Knicks played the Portland Trailblazers. The last time we played the Trailblazers, we gave up a 23-point lead. A 23-point lead. Listen, you can't do that tonight. They don't have. I'm going to read out the injury report, but you can't do it tonight. You just can't, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, this is the Game Day pregame show. Please make sure you go to thegameday.com. Get all of your latest sports content and betting odds, ladies and gentlemen. So go to thegameday.com. The link is in the description of the video. The injury report. This is the official injury report for the New York Knicks. Cam Reddish, he's out. We know that. Quentin Grimes is out. Nerlens Noel out. Derrick Rose out. Everybody, is out. All the bench guys are out. Everyone off the bench is out. For the Portland Trailblazers, I mean, they're just as banged up as the New York Knicks. Eric Bledsoe out. Joe Ingles, you know what happened with him and his knee? He's out. Damian Lillard out. Nazir Little out. Nurkic is out. Anthony Simons is out tonight. Justice
Wow.
Winslow is questionable, right? That begs the question, like, who are they left with to play basketball?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who are they left with to play basketball? And that's the reason why I'm saying the Knicks cannot. Come on, can't lose this game tonight. When you look at the projected starting lineups for the Knicks, you got Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. And for the Portland Trailblazers, you got Brandon Williams, Josh Hart, CJ Ellaby. You got Trendon Watford, and you got Drew Eubanks.
Wow.
You can't lose this basketball game. Can't lose this basketball game, man. Can't lose this basketball game. Things gonna go up in flames if the Knicks lose the game. Tony, just your thoughts. We're gonna get to some matchups in a minute, but your thoughts on this game, the lineup.
Well, I mean, I have no thoughts because I don't know any of those guys besides Josh Hart.
Josh Hart.
This, it's very ironic that we led with the Tibbs thing, and we're gonna get into that later on the crossover as well. But this would be the kind of loss that gets a coach fired.
No doubt about it.
I mean, that's the most I can say at this point. Looking at these lineups, and I don't know any of these guys besides Josh Hart, and he wouldn't necessarily be a threat or a guy on my radar, under a normal circumstance. So obviously, he's the guy that I would probably put the most pressure on. Let's hopefully Fournier can win his matchup tonight.
Yeah. I will say that Watford has been playing well. I think he's averaging like 20-something points over the last 4 games. I just picked him up. One of my fantasy teams.
It's a couple. There's a couple guys that's actually playing well for the Blazers. But what do you think, Steph? I mean,
we still should win this game.
Yeah,
you have to win this game. We got veteran players on this team, and even if you could say RJ is young and Mitchell Robinson is young, but they've been starting the entire season, unlike Watford and Eubanks and what have you. So they do have game experience. So I expect them to win their matchups, and I expect the Knicks to win this game.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing about how dangerous it is? Because you assume that all of these guys and then whomever is coming off the bench are getting opportunities that they are not accustomed to, where they want to play their best, show their best, maybe prove they're part of a team, maybe scout. Other teams are looking at them and things of that nature. So hopefully the Knicks and I don't doubt this, but hopefully they don't take them lightly and they look to really, crush them early and kind of coast.
Yeah, I mean they should be. They should be motivated because Portland came back, from a 23-point lead and won the game by like 8 or 9 points. Right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even like they won by 1 or 2 points. It was almost a blowout the other way. You know what I'm saying? Andy, your thoughts, man, and then we're going to get into breaking down the matchups a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to recognize that I know Drew Eubanks. He was playing on the Spurs. I had him on my fantasy. Then he got, cut, so I caught him also. And now he found a role in the NBA. But Sam, to be serious, listen, that's why we're seeing games from Josh Hart going for 44 points. And like you guys mentioned, Brandon Williams or Trendon Watford, they can go for 20 couple. Listen, somebody has to score for an NBA team to get like at least 75 points a game, right? So listen, it's someone has to score. And looking at their starting lineup, I can't imagine their bench even. so listen, like I said, someone has to score those buckets. So I just hope it's not going to be one of those games like Tony said, that I don't think actually the Knicks players are going to underestimate those guys, but they might have their guard a little bit lower, thinking that, listen, those guys are probably tanking, so it might be maybe not a cakewalk, but at least a easier game. And sometimes that not fully motivated situation causes really problems on the court.
Yeah, and they got some guys who are balling. You see, they got some guys who are playing basketball, and that's always a scary proposition because when there's some guys on the floor that you don't know a lot about, how do you game plan for them? You know what I mean? How do you game plan for these guys? It's tough. We might as well talk about it now. We're talking about guys who are playing good. The matchup of the night, I think, is RJ Barrett and Josh Hart. Right? The Thrive Fantasy, ladies and gentlemen, matchup of the night. Please go to thrivefantasy.com. Use the code NBK. You'll get a 100% match of your first deposit up to $100, ladies and gentlemen. thrivefantasy.com. We're talking about guys that are playing basketball, good basketball, for the Portland Trailblazers. Josh Hart is one of them. Over the last 2 games, Josh Hart is averaging 37.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's shooting 61.9% from the field. He's shooting 62.5% from 3, and he's shooting 86.7% from the free throw line. It's over the last 2 games. The kid he's hooping, he's balling.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett, over his last 10 games, he's averaging 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 41.8% from the field. He's shooting 31.4% from 3 and 74.1% from the free throw line. And here it is, the Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. I don't think it's going to be Evan Fournier guarding Josh Hart, not with him scoring like this. I think it's going to be RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
Right? But, you talk about guys who, could have a career night. I mean, he just dropped 44 points and then 30 whatever points. He could be looking to come to the Garden and have a career night too. You know what I mean? Yeah. RJ Barrett's going to have to go to work on the defensive side. What do you think about this matchup? And then, we'll get in and talk about the rest of the matchups. Andy, I'll start with you.
Yes, I'm totally with you on the matchup as far as on the defensive end that Fournier is not going to be on Josh Hart. For one, I think Hart is a little bit stronger than Fournier, so it would be wise for RJ to be on him. Last couple of games, not only 2, I think before that he also had around 20-point games. Listen, he's basically standing alone on that squad since Simmons is not there, Lillard is not there. If Nurkic isn't playing, they're basically relying on Josh Hart, to look like an NBA team and not like a G League team, just filling in for an NBA, schedule, right? So, like you said, he's a very dangerous player in this situation because the whole team relies on him. And sometimes, guys on these nights get superpowers, and like we saw before, he can get hot. And looking at the his efficiency numbers, they're pretty good. Yeah,
real good.
Yeah, so listen, it might be a dangerous matchup, though. I really think that Knicks overall can switch up, even double him, and we can actually make him having a pretty bad night today, at least I hope.
Yeah, I hope. Steph, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be RJ on Hart. I want to say Hart is a tough cover, but not necessarily. I just think he's just hot. As of late, he's always been a very good rebounder. I like that RJ is taking the best player on the opposing team every night, so he'll be up for this matchup. Wow, are we saying
so.
he'll be up for this? He'll be up for this matchup. Are we saying who's going to win the matchup, or we just commenting on the matchup?
I mean, I don't know. Who do you think is going to win the matchup?
I'm going to go with RJ.
With
I need him to be a bit more efficient tonight, though.
Yeah,
I'm going with RJ.
Yeah, remember RJ didn't play in the last game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, RJ didn't play in the last game. Tony, your thoughts on this matchup? And Chick George said we just turned Josh into a star. No, we didn't. I mean, he scored these points, not us. So I'm not down there hitting the A button for him to score.
You know what I mean? That's funny. Oh, that's real funny. When I first saw it, I thought you made a mistake. I thought that was like his minutes per game, 37.5. I was like, oh, his points is 7.5. So that was my first thoughts. But as far as the matchup, I'm definitely going RJ. we're comparing 2 games to 10. I don't think even with those two great games, like those numbers are nowhere near sustainable.
Right.
That's like all time great numbers right there for what he's putting up.
Right.
And so I gotta think he doesn't maintain that pace. You know what I mean? Even if he slow him down a little bit, and then with RJ's resurgence and really coming on strong, I'm going RJ overall.
All right.
You know, so that's how I'm looking at
I
that one.
hope so. Sometimes things come in threes. You know what I mean? Sometimes they come in threes. So, 3 good games, So,
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case, and the Knicks can slow him down tonight. But he's coming in confident, and he had 3 good games, and now okay, well I'm at the Garden now. Now I gotta have a good game at the Garden. I just did it in Atlanta and wherever else. I gotta have a good one at the Garden. So we'll
and,
see.
and and I think coming into this third one, I think he's probably going to be more of the focal point against us
Yeah.
than he was in the previous two.
Right.
After one, it's like, all right, he had a good game. Two is, the first game it was unexpected. Second game is like, all right, he had one good game. Now this is two in a row going into the third. I think we're gonna have he's gonna be the guy on a
Yeah.
bulletin board. So
Yeah,
it should be good.
that's without a doubt, because Anthony Simons, Nurkic, neither one of those guys are playing. So, he's going to be the guy out there that, they're queuing in on. Looking at other matchups for the night. There we go. Defensive matchups. Looking at those matchups for tonight. Again, we already talked about RJ Barrett and Josh Hart. I think Alec Burks probably guards Brandon Williams, Evan Fournier on CJ Ellaby, Julius Randle on Watford, and then Mitchell Robinson on Eubanks. I don't know much about Brandon Williams, Ellaby, Watford, or Eubanks. I know, a couple of those guys are playing good basketball coming into the game. You know what I mean? But Tony, your thoughts on Alec Burks and Brandon Williams?
I'm with you, and am not familiar with Williams. So I mean, I think these guys really got to just overall just take advantage of their matchups. These guys are, in my knowledge, in new positions.
Mm-hmm.
So they, let's get them away and get them away early, and then not let them even have a a thought that they could come back. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
this needs to be a real statement game. To be honest, like it shouldn't be close. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the way we've been playing, we should handle them easily against the competition we've been playing against as of late, and coming into this one, it should be no debatables
Right.
in rap terminology.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Steph, any thoughts on that matchup, Alec Burks and Brandon Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled up his ESPN stats. He's 6'2", so Burks should definitely have the height advantage against him. And over his past, he's played in 8 of the last 10 games, 15.6 points, 3.6 rebounds, 2.8 assists, but he's very inefficient, 41.6% from the field and 31.4% from three-point land, but averaging 13 points on the season. So Burks got to come to play, though. He can't come and be a slouch today, but he definitely has the height advantage on him. And Burks to me is a adequate defensive player. So yeah, I think he should hold him below his average.
Yeah, I think so. I think Alec Burks should win the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, Evan Fournier, and CJ Ellaby.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm coming right to you, man. I'm coming right to you when it comes to Fournier.
I'm going with whatever Andy says.
Yeah. Yeah. So listen, Evan has to make at least a couple of threes for me. Yeah, just to be true, I think he's gonna have an efficient game. I really hope that all the Knicks players are gonna have an efficient game, and I'm not expecting in any of these matchups to maybe Julius and RJ can maybe blow out their matchups, right? Like score 30s or even high 30s. But I think that I rather see a team win when they get everybody involved and feeling good for the next game, not
Right.
only for this one. And I really think that Fournier should be, one of these guys that if he gets, a couple of good buckets, high efficiency like he had last game, he was shooting pretty well. And he didn't have to, even maybe he didn't have to, he didn't get the opportunity to score in the fourth quarter. But yet still, if you would look at his numbers after the game, he looked pretty good. So I'm thinking that Evan might have a game like that. Not expecting 30 points from Evan Fournier this game, but I think he can, match the numbers at least for with CJ Ellaby.
Yeah. I mean, what's CJ Ellaby averaging? 7 points a game?
Yeah, something like that.
Seven
Five, five,
point
Sam.
five
7.4
5 points a
over the
game.
last 10.
What's that over the last 10?
7.4.
Over the last 10.
Mhm.
Yeah. Evan Fournier's got to win this matchup. You know what I mean? He was playing well against the Nets. He's got to, hopefully continue play well tonight. And then we got Julius Randle and Trendon Watford. Steph, didn't you say that you added him to your lineup?
Yeah, I added him to
Yeah.
my lineup. I'm trying to pull him up now because over the past like 4 or 5 games, he's been averaging over 20 points a game. So I think it's something, and we already know about Randall, right? Sometimes he's engaged and sometimes he's not. He can't fall asleep
Right.
on this matchup. So only 4 points a game versus New York, 13.4 over the last 10. But I don't have his. Okay, here we go. They played Atlanta. He had 22 points, 9 rebounds. Washington, 27 points, 6 rebounds. Utah, 22 points, 3 rebounds. And he also hits the three um, as well. So those were all. Well, Washington was a win, but basically he's somebody that's engaged, and he's going to be putting up shots, and so Julius can't sleep.
Right. Ah, man. Here's the thing. He's engaged. He's putting up shots. He's scoring well, over the last few games. And he's looking at this to say, this is my chance to prove to the Portland Trailblazers or anybody else in the league that I can play on this level. All of these guys, Brandon Williams, CJ Ellaby, Eubanks, they're looking to prove that they can play consistent minutes and put up productive numbers on an NBA level.
Right.
So they're coming out to play hard. You know what I mean? They're gonna come out and play hard. And Julius Randle can't sleep, man. He can't sleep. You got Mitchell Robinson and Drew Eubanks.
Mhm.
I'm going with Mitchell Robinson.
No doubt.
Right? I think that he should win this matchup. Tony, any thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's time for Mitchell to kind of get back in his groove. So I hope he comes out on a mission, try to dominate. I definitely give him the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I really think this should be like one of our biggest margins of victory of the season coming into this game.
It should be, but
Yeah, right.
it should be. I wouldn't be surprised if we come in and struggle in this joint, but it should be.
Right.
You know what I mean? It should be. Looking at the bench rotations, of course, for the Knicks, you got Miles McBride, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, Taj Gibson, Jericho Sims. For the Portland Trailblazers, you got Chris Dunn, Keon Johnson, Greg Brown III, and Elijah Hughes. I think the Knicks should win the bench matchup.
No wonder, Sim. It's 5 against 4.
Right. This is who they've been playing. Maybe they go a little bit deeper, but this is who they've been playing in their bench rotations. No DSJ.
Right.
Right. They gotta win this bench matchup, Steph.
Yeah, no, yeah, we will. We will. McBride gives us good minutes, Quickly gives us good minutes. Toppin didn't play a lot the last game, but he still his per minutes were very good. Jericho Sims has been playing very well. And Taj may or may not play.
Right.
So I definitely think I just want to say one thing about the Mitch matchup, Sim, if I can.
Yeah.
with Eubanks, his last two games against Atlanta, 16-10, and Washington, 20-12.
Mm,
So Mitch got to be on point, just like Randall.
yeah. See, that's what happens when when guys get a chance to play, they start getting confident,
Hmm.
and their games start coming around, and people don't know how to match up with them because they don't know
Right.
what to expect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He's undersized though, 6'9".
6'9".
Yeah.
Okay. Andy, any thoughts about the bench? The Knicks should dominate, right? The Knicks bench should
Yeah,
dominate
listen,
this.
Sim, the Knicks should dominate, leading, by leaded by Emmanuel quickly. I hope, at least Miles McBride is, maybe not. This is not the perfect game for him to, have these breakout games. And a breakout by Miles McBride, I mean like 8 points. Not, I'm not expecting 20, like crazy Knicks fans that think if we would be playing him 40 minutes, he would be averaging 27 and 10 assists. So I'm just expecting a couple of points from him. Listen, the looking at the Portland bench, no, I saw glimpses of Keon Johnson. He's not that bad. Chris Dunn, listen, that's a former lottery pick, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he has talent. Then
Mm-hmm.
again, listen, he was like on 3 or 4 squads before reaching Portland. So might be luck, might be not getting a chance. Though I think in Chicago and in Minnesota, I think he played several minutes. So I'm not sure what's going on with Chris. And listen, sometimes those names that you never heard of, Greg Brown the third and Elijah Hughes. Actually, Elijah Hughes, I think that's the guy that they signed while cutting DSJ. And the story was that DSJ had, I think, an elbow injury, which he couldn't, come back from. That's why they signed Elijah Hughes. But still, listen, Sim. Like I said before, someone has to score those points
Right.
for the Blazers, right? If these guys chip in for like 7-8 points, it might be closer than we actually think this game should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Brown is a rookie, I believe, out of Texas, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to get to a comment someone made. This is Nick. He asked a question, and so that Andy's not covered up, let me remove this. All right. He said, a suggestion: when you guys do a preview matchups between players, can you also do both coaches as well? That's a good suggestion. I think we'll start doing that for sure. Yeah, appreciate that. I think
People
we'll do
want
that for
to
sure.
nag on Tibbs more.
Right. I guess I just got to figure out the best way to present it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just the best way to present it, however that looks. Talking about each play, each coach's defensive style, offensive style, whatever. I don't know. We'll figure that out though. But yeah, the Knicks should win the bench, man. They should win the bench.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mark Boyce said, can we put a little time into Jericho Sims? How about this? I believe, Steph, you said you were going to talk about Jericho Sims a little bit on the crossover.
Yep.
Yeah. So Mark, join the crossover.
6:30.
6:30. Talk about Jericho Sims. I mean, we've been talking about Jericho Sims,
We
but
have.
they'll get into some depth on Jericho Sims on the crossover. The previous matchup, previous game, of course, we know the Knicks lost the big lead, a 23-point lead. They end up losing the game 112-103. They lost that game by 9 points. 9 points after having a 23-point lead. I mean, you're talking a 32-point turnaround.
Yeah.
32-point turnaround. Ah, man, I hate even going back and thinking about it. They got out-rebounded 51-41. They got out-assisted 29-19. The Knicks had 6 steals, the Blazers 3. The Blazers had 2 blocks, the Knicks 6. The Knicks had 12 turnovers. Blazers had 15. The shooting percentage. This is where this is where the game was won for the Blazers in the second half. The Blazers shot 47.6% for the game. They shot 37.5% from 3, and they shot 85% from the free throw line. The Knicks 38.3% from the field, 30% from the 3-point line, and 85.8% 3% from the free throw line. I mean, they made their free throws,
Yeah.
but they couldn't, but they didn't make anything else. You know what I'm saying? Listen, they got to play better and do better. This was, I don't want to say in the beginning, this was in that stretch. They played the Los Angeles Lakers and had a 20-something point lead and lost.
Yeah.
Then they played the Utah Jazz, had two 12-point leads in that game, ended up losing that game. They lost to Denver. They beat Golden State, and then they come back and do that against the Warriors. Right? It was during that stretch that, and that was the stretch where fans really said, this is it. I'm done.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's where fans started logging off after that stretch. Any numbers stand out to you there? I'll come back to you, Steph, then I'll come to Tony.
The assists. I mean, the Knicks are not a high assist team anyway. So that tells you that Portland was either moving the ball more or just making their shots more, and the Knicks weren't. And then also the field goal percentage, 38.3. I'm surprised we were up. Well, maybe we started bricking afterwards, and maybe that's why we lost the lead. But 38.3% from the field goal, it's going to be hard to win a game like that. And I'm not even sure we've hit our free throws this well since then.
Yeah.
Because that's been an Achilles heel for us as well.
Right. All season long. Tony?
Yeah, we gave that game away. I mean, you talk about a low turnover game,
Right.
a good free throw shooting game, and those are the things that killed us the most throughout the season. Up 23, and that's exactly what happened. We couldn't buy a shot in the second half or down the stretch. In particular, I think we're better than we were then, even though that wasn't too long ago. But yeah, those are the numbers that stuck out. We lost after shooting well at the free throw line, and having a relatively low turnover game.
Yeah.
And I think the free throws we did miss, came down the stretch as well in that game.
Yeah. Tricky Nicky said, did Dame or CJ play in that game? No, I don't think either one of those guys played. I think it was Anthony Simons and Nurkic that were playing. Those were their two best players on that, their two best team players that night. Yeah. Gotta pull this. Gotta get. I'm gonna just keep saying it. We gotta get this one. My keys to the game. The Knicks are back home after being on a 7-game homestand. Relax. Just relax. You know what I mean? I feel like the Knicks are more relaxed and more comfortable being out on the road. You know what I mean? So come home and be relaxed. We're looking at all across the board that the Knicks should win these matchups. They have to win the matchups you should win. The only matchup that could be questionable is Josh Hart, right? That's the only matchup that could be questionable. The Knicks should win every single one of their matchups. Somebody's going to come out and be hot besides Josh Hart. I mean, they're an NBA team. Somebody's going to play ball, but the Knicks got to win the matchups they should win. Take care of the basketball. Tony, you just talked about, in their last game, they had a low turnover game, only 12 turnovers for the Knicks. But the Knicks have been turning the ball over lately. You know what I mean? I don't know what their numbers are in the last 15 games as far as turnovers are concerned, but they've been turning the ball over more than normal. Over the last probably 2 months or something like that. Last season, the Knicks were a pretty low turnover team. I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I feel like the turnover numbers are not a whole lot higher, but probably 13, 14 to 15 turnovers, over the last per game over the last month and a half or so. That's what I'm thinking. Defensive rotations, communication, and rebound. I'm always, that's almost always on there. You know what I mean? Because the Knicks do have some trouble with their defensive rotations, their defensive communication. They normally rebound well, But those defensive rotations and communication, you know, sometimes they lose it. They lose it. Don't communicate well, and then hold a lead and execute in the clutch. You know, it's been like that all season long. Anything, Andy, that you think, any other keys to the game you want to add or emphasize?
Make shots, and listen, we
Yeah,
got to make shots. If we don't make
yeah,
threes, just go in closer, see the ball go through the hoop, through the net, and then try a three. Don't force 5 threes if they're not falling. And go to the line and stuff like that. We can't afford a game that we're going to be shooting 35 or 30% and expect the Knicks to win.
Right.
right.
So listen, this is the NBA. 40 couple of percent, you got a chance. If you're going to be shooting 35 and you win, listen, the other team must have been shooting like 30. So
Right. Right.
that's the only way you're going to get a W in the NBA.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Steph, anything you want to add?
I think all of them are good, Sim, but the last one, hold the lead and execute in the clutch. One of the things that shows that, Randall, obviously RJ hasn't been there, but Randall is young to this, is the experienced players when they're losing momentum, they know how to get to the line. They know how to, get somebody to foul them to kind of break the momentum. And we just don't do that. We just
Right.
keep playing the same way and keep losing the momentum. So holding the lead, again, I've talked about it all the time. You got to hit those timely shots that keeps the team from closing in on you. And you got to get stops. So that's what we really need to do. So first we got to
Yeah.
get the lead. And once
Right.
we do,
Right.
I think that last one is going to be super important for us.
Yeah. Do you think, you talked about, players, those star players knowing how to, get to the foul line, and not just get to the foul line, but get there in certain types of situations.
Yep.
Do you think that Randall and RJ are learning that? Because over the last 15 games, up until last night,
Mhm.
I'm sure numbers have changed, but up until last night, they were in like the top 10 in free throw attempts over the last 15 games.
Yeah.
Both of them around 8.3, 8.4 attempts per game.
Yes.
You
They're definitely attacking the basket, and the officials are finally
hmm
giving Randall calls. I don't think RJ is getting as many calls when he goes to the line as he should, but I still want to see it, Sim. Like when they do it is important too. Like I would like Lowry would do this intentionally when he saw that the team was going on a run, intentionally try to get a foul to break the momentum. So I'll be
Right.
watching for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim, if I
Oh,
can add
yeah.
something
Yeah. Yeah. hmm
yeah, to this point. Listen, I think to learn these qualities and this execution type at the end of the games, it's not like you have to have a player that you learn from on your team, but
Mhm.
it would definitely help, just to see how he carries himself in the timeouts, how he thinks, how what's his approach. And listen, for RJ and Randall, the the second, the first biggest with player with most experience, and probably that was in most of these clutch situations, is Evan Fournier. And I don't think that's the perfect teacher for guys like Randall and Barrett, right? So they don't have the perfect teacher, but they have to take at least something from him and add a little sprinkle or of their selves. So let's hope they're gonna take only the best things out
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. Tony?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. My bad. What was the question?
Just if you had any other keys to the game that you wanted to add, or anything you like to emphasize.
Um, I mean, mostly late game execution, which is on there, but we just got to come out with hunger and desire. Make this a statement game. But I think you covered all of the key
Yeah.
key
And
components.
this is really right now And I know everyone's gonna just say, they've been out of it, they're out of da. I get it. I know all of that, but mathematically they're in it. But this is kind of the last gasp, right? Shout out to Keep Giggles or Kept Giggles. Said the Hawks are playing the Hornets, so the Knicks will make up a game for sure. Right?
Mm.
I think and then the Knicks in their next game, they play the Wizards. Right. So then they have a chance to make up a game over the Wizards. So if the Knicks win this game and then they beat the Wizards, they make up a game on the Wizards. And then, they're going to make up a game on either the Hawks or the Hornets. Right. And then upcoming games, the Knicks will play Utah, and then they play Atlanta. And then right after they play Atlanta, they play Charlotte. Right. So there's a chance here to climb on some people. If one of the Hawks or the Hornets are going to lose tonight, and if the Knicks win, they gain a game, right? And then if they beat the Wizards, they can gain a game on them. And then if they beat the Hawks and beat the Charlotte Hornets again, they can gain a game on them again. You know what I mean? So, this is kind of, and I know, people are like, all right, Sim, you being too
you're
optimistic.
scaring them, Sim. You're scaring them, Sim, man.
But this is like the last gasp.
Right.
This is the last gasp. This is the last breath of air that they have. If they lose to the Wizards, they lose to the Hawks, and they lose to the Charlotte Hornets over this next, week, then, I think they drown. Then, this is the last gasp to even make it look like they have a chance.
Yep.
They gotta win tonight. They gotta beat the Wizards. They gotta beat the Hawks. They gotta beat the Hornets. If they do those things, at the very least, they gain some ground, and now they're like 3 games out. You know what I mean? And they give themselves a little bit of life. They got to do it. They got to get those wins. Those are critical wins right there.
Yeah,
critical wins. You know what I mean? I mean, like right now, you're looking at and saying the Knicks need to go right now on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game win streak right now. In order to, because they play Portland, they should win it tonight. The Wizards, then they play Utah. I think they can beat Utah, then Atlanta, and then Charlotte. Right? Yeah. That's a 5-game win streak that they really need to go on if they want to at least make it look like they have a chance.
They're all at home, Sim?
They're all at home.
Oh, if they can't do that, then
actually, the last one versus Charlotte on March 23rd is in Charlotte. But Portland, Washington, Utah, and Atlanta are all at home.
And Sim, let me say something. Just remember at the beginning of the season, when we went like 5-1 and we started losing games, and I was like, these games are equally as important as the ones at the end of the season. And people are like, nah, this is the 6th game. This is the 7th game of the season. We're going to turn it around. We're going to get W's. If we would have like 3 W's more, we would be closer in. Now fans are like, nah, just tank.
Right.
We shouldn't be even in this situation if we wouldn't be giving up games early in the season. And that's every season. The season has 82 games of a regular season schedule. All 82 games count. It's not like the first 25 don't count. So
right, because then you start assuming that they're gonna get hot and they're gonna be able to make those games up.
Yeah.
Right? That's what happens. And obviously it's not happening.
Yeah. So
it's obviously not happening. So yeah, this is the Knicks' last chance. It's the last gasp. See what they can do, ladies and gentlemen. See what they can do. They're gonna have a chance, but they got to make the best of it. You know what I mean? Make the best of it. Any last words before we get out of here? I know the crossover is starting at 6:30.
Yep.
Right.
We'll talk about Tibbs. We'll talk about Sims.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm sorry, Sim.
No, I was just gonna say, you want to give everybody an idea what what the show's gonna be about.
Yeah, we got like Queen said, we got we talking about this Tibbs thing and what it means moving forward. We're gonna touch on the effect of Kenny Payne possibly leaving, how that might affect us moving forward. The talk of Sims and his recent good play, which I'm actually covering right now because I didn't even watch the full Nets game. You want to add anything, Queen?
Yeah, I mean, and you can't talk about Sims without talking about Mitch and this free agency. And if that's encouraging for the front office, will that soften the blow for them if he does leave?
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's at 6:30. Make sure you get on over there and check out the crossover at 6:30. All right. And, it's going to be dope, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll definitely be on tonight for the post-game show. All right. The Knicks play at 7:30. I will catch you then. And in the meantime, be peaceful, rest easy, and we out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.